The aftermath of the trial left Elias and Silithra physically and emotionally drained. The bond they had forged in the crystal chamber lingered between them, a tangible connection that neither fully understood but both felt deeply. As they emerged from the cave system, the luminary greeted them with reverence, their glowing eyes reflecting gratitude and awe. Even the elders, who had initially doubted Elias, bowed their heads in respect. But the victory came at a cost. The energy surge from the crystal core had destabilized parts of the floating city, causing sections of it to flicker and dim. Though the structure remained intact, it was clear that sustaining such harmony required sacrifice, and perhaps compromise. Elias knew his time on the planet was running out. Earth Command had already sent multiple messages demanding his return, citing rising tensions with the Krylos across the galaxy. Humanity needed its best diplomats back home to navigate the fragile peace. Yet, leaving Silithra felt impossible. Every moment spent with her deepened his attachment, making the thought of parting unbearable. One evening, as they stood together overlooking the glowing ocean, Silithra broke the silence. Asterisk, you must go soon, don't you? Asterisk, her voice was soft, almost hesitant, as though she feared confirming what they both knew. Elias sighed, staring at the horizon. Yes, my crew, my people need me. And staying here might put you all in more danger. Silithra nodded slowly, her shimmering form catching the light of the twin moons. Asterisk, I understand. But before you leave, I want to give you something. Asterisk, she reached into a fold of her flowing garment and pulled out a small pendant, a fragment of the same crystalline material from the trial chamber. It glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Asterisk, this is a piece of my essence, asterisk, she explained. Asterisk, through it, we can maintain a connection, no matter how far apart we are. You will always carry a part of me with you. Asterisk. Tears welled up in Elias's eyes as he accepted the pendant. He clasped it tightly in his hand, feeling its warmth seep into his skin. Thank you, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. But what about you? What happens to your people now? Silithra's expression turned solemn. Asterisk. The trial showed us that unity requires effort, not just within our kind, but with others like you. Your presence has changed us, Elias. We cannot remain isolated forever. Asterisk. Over the next few days, preparations for Elias's departure began. The luminary worked tirelessly to repair the damaged areas of their city while teaching him how to use the pendant. Through it, he could send thoughts and emotions across vast distances, though the process would be taxing for both of them. Still, it was a lifeline, a way to bridge the gap between their worlds. On the day of his departure, the entire city gathered to bid him farewell. The air hummed with melodic tones as the luminary sang a song of gratitude and hope. Silithra stood beside him, her hand resting lightly on his shoulder. Asterisk, promise me one thing, asterisk, she said, her voice steady despite the sadness in her eyes. Asterisk, do not forget us. One day, find a way to return. Asterisk. Elias placed a hand over hers, his resolve firm. I promise. This isn't goodbye, Silithra. It's just until next time. As he boarded Asterisk, the Horizon Seeker Asterisk, Elias glanced back one last time. Silithra stood alone on the edge of the floating platform, her figure illuminated by the glow of the ocean below. For a brief moment, their gazes locked, and he felt her presence in his mind, warm and reassuring. The ship ascended into the sky, leaving the luminous planet behind. As the stars stretched into streaks of light during faster-than-light travel, Elias clutched the pendant close to his chest. Though millions of miles separated them, he could still feel Silithra's essence, a reminder of the bond they shared and the challenges they had overcome together. Yet, as the ship hurtled through space, Elias couldn't shake the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. The Krylos were still out there, and humanity's role in this galactic conflict was far from resolved. Somewhere deep inside, He wondered if their bond would be enough to withstand the storms ahead, or if their love would become another casualty of war. For now, though, he held on to hope that their connection transcended distance, species, and even time itself. The arrival of the Krylos cast a dark shadow over the floating city. Their leader, Commander Zixar, was a towering figure clad in black armor etched with glowing red symbols. His voice boomed through the air, amplified by some unseen device, demanding that the luminary hand over access to their psychic network, a technology capable of controlling minds and bending entire populations to its will. Silithra stepped forward, her shimmering form radiating calm despite the tension in the air. Asterisk, this is our home, and we will not surrender it to those who seek only destruction. Asterisk, she declared telepathically, her voice echoing not just in Elias's mind, but throughout the city. Zixar sneered, his sharp teeth glinting under the harsh light of his ship. Your kind clings to ideals of peace while the galaxy burns around you. Hand over your secrets, or face annihilation. Elias felt a surge of anger at the arrogance of the Krylos commander. Stepping beside Silithra, he raised his hands in a gesture of negotiation. Wait, he called out, his voice steady despite the fear coiling in his chest. There's no need for violence. Let's talk this through. Zixar's cold gaze shifted to Elias. Ah, a human, he spat, his tone dripping with disdain. Your kind has caused enough trouble across the stars. Why should I believe anything you say? Before Elias could respond, Silithra interjected. Asterisk. He speaks for us because he understands both our worlds. If you harm him, or any of us, you declare war on humanity as well. Asterisk. Her words carried weight, and Zixar hesitated. Humanity had grown powerful in recent decades, and even the Krylos weren't foolish enough to provoke them without reason. After a tense moment, he nodded curtly. Very well. But if your human friend fails, there will be consequences. Elias swallowed hard, knowing the stakes. He proposed a compromise, a trial, an ancient luminary test of courage and selflessness, to prove his loyalty to the luminary and demonstrate their worthiness to remain free. If he succeeded, the Krylos would leave peacefully. If he failed, the luminary would share their secrets. Silithra immediately objected, her eyes flashing with concern. Asterisk, you cannot risk yourself like this. This trial is meant for my people, not outsiders. Asterisk. I have to, Elias replied firmly. If I don't try, they'll destroy everything you've built here, and blame humanity for failing to act. Reluctantly, Silithra agreed to accompany him into the trial, unwilling to let him face it alone. The elders prepared the ritual, leading them to a labyrinthine cave system beneath the floating city. The entrance pulsed with an eerie blue light, and the air inside felt heavy, as though the walls themselves were alive. As they ventured deeper, illusions began to assault them, visions drawn from their deepest fears and desires. Elias saw himself stranded in space, abandoned by his crew. He relived the death of his younger sister, who had succumbed to illness years ago. In one particularly vivid hallucination, he stood before Silithra, only for her to turn away, saying, Asterisk, you are too flawed to understand me. Asterisk. Each vision tested his resolve, forcing him to confront his insecurities. But every time he faltered, Silithra's presence steadied him. Through their shared telepathic link, she whispered encouragement, reminding him of why he was there, not just for himself, but for both their peoples. Meanwhile, Silithra faced her own trials. She saw visions of leaving her people behind, abandoning her role as their guardian. She experienced the pain of losing her connection to the collective consciousness, feeling utterly alone for the first time in her life. Yet, whenever doubt crept in, Elias's unwavering determination gave her strength. Together, they pressed onward until they reached the heart of the maze, a chamber containing a pulsating crystal core. Its light filled the room, casting shifting patterns on the walls. Silithra turned to Elias, her expression resolute. Asterisk, Toe passed the trial. We must touch it together. Only then can we prove our bond. Asterisk. Without hesitation, they reached out, their hands meeting above the core. A surge of energy coursed through them, blending their thoughts and emotions into a single unified force. The crystal erupted in a burst of light, sending waves of energy rippling outward. Above ground, the Krylos ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared as systems malfunctioned, forcing Zixer to retreat. As the vessel ascended into the sky, disappearing from view, the floating city fell silent once more. Breathing heavily, Elias looked at Silithra. Did we win? She smiled faintly, exhaustion evident in her glowing eyes. Asterisk for now, yes, but the cost of victory may yet reveal itself. Asterisk. Though the immediate threat had passed, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was far from over. Over the next few days, Elias immersed himself in learning about the luminary. Silithra acted as his guide, patiently explaining their customs, beliefs, and way of life. She showed him how they communicated through resonant tones that seemed to echo in the air like music, blending seamlessly with the natural hum of the planet. They shared memories telepathically, not just personal ones, but collective experiences passed down through generations. It was a form of connection Elias had never imagined possible. One evening, as they sat together under the twin moons, Silithra asked Elias to share more about human emotions. Tell me, she said softly, her voice echoing in his mind. What does it feel like to love? Elias hesitated, searching for words to describe something so deeply personal. Love is complicated, he began. It's joy and pain, hope and fear, all mixed together. Sometimes it feels like you're falling, and other times it feels like flying. But when you find someone who truly understands you, it's everything. Silithra listened intently, her glowing eyes reflecting the moonlight. For a moment, she was silent, processing his explanation. Then she reached out and gently touched his hand. The contact sent a warm wave through him, almost as if she were trying to feel what he felt. I think I understand now, she said finally. Your kind cherishes imperfection because it makes each moment unique. My people value harmony, but perhaps we lose something by avoiding chaos. Her words struck a chord within Elias. He realized how much humans took for granted, the messy, unpredictable nature of life. To the luminary, such things might seem chaotic or even dangerous, but to him, they were what made existence meaningful. The next morning, Silithra led Elias to a sacred grove at the edge of the floating city. Towering crystalline trees surrounded them, their surfaces shimmering with an inner light. In the center stood a small pedestal holding a glowing orb, pulsating softly with energy. This is where my people perform rituals of unity, Silithra explained. When two individuals wish to bond, they exchange fragments of their essence through objects like this. She picked up the orb and held it out to him. Elias, you once said you wished to marry someone like me. Among my kind, this would be our version of such a bond, a joining of souls. Elias stared at the orb, stunned. He hadn't expected his offhand remark to lead to something so profound. But I'm not one of you, he stammered. How can we even? You do not need to be like us, Silithra interrupted gently. What matters is the intention behind the act. If you accept this, it will symbolize your willingness to connect, not just with me, but with all of us. Her sincerity left him speechless. This wasn't just a romantic gesture. It was a bridge between two worlds, fragile yet powerful. Yet before he could respond, the ground trembled violently. The peaceful hum of the forest was shattered by a deafening roar as a massive spacecraft descended from the sky, its shadow blotting out the twin moons. The ship was sleek and menacing, its surface covered in jagged armor plating. It hovered above the floating city, emitting a low-frequency hum that rattled the very air. From its underside emerged smaller vessels, which landed near the outskirts of the city. Silithra's expression hardened as she recognized the emblem on the ship, the Krylos, a rival alien faction known for their aggression and thirst for power. They had come seeking the Luminary's psychic network, a technology they wanted to weaponize. "They must not take what belongs to us," Silithra said firmly, gripping the orb tightly. Turning to Elias, she added, "Whatever happens next, remember this: bonds are stronger than fear." As armed Krylos soldiers approached, Elias knew their peaceful encounter had taken a dangerous turn. Whatever choice he made now would shake not only his future, but the fate of both their worlds. Silithra's smile lingered as she extended a slender hand toward Elias. Without hesitation, he took it, feeling a strange warmth radiating from her touch. Though her skin shimmered like liquid metal, it was surprisingly soft, almost velvety. She gestured for him to follow her, and together they walked deeper into the glowing forest. As they moved, the trees seemed to part before them, creating a natural path bathed in golden light. The air hummed faintly, as if the planet itself were alive and watching. Silithra occasionally glanced back at Elias, her luminous eyes studying him with quiet curiosity. He couldn't help but feel both awestruck and slightly intimidated by her presence. To him, she wasn't just an alien. She was something otherworldly, almost divine. After what felt like hours, they emerged into a breathtaking sight. A floating city suspended high above a vast ocean of bioluminescent water. The structures gleamed like polished crystal, interconnected by delicate bridges that shimmered in the sunlight. Below, the waves glowed in hues of blue and green, casting reflections onto the underside of the city. It was unlike anything Elias had ever seen, a perfect blend of nature and technology. "This is my home," Silithra said telepathically, her voice filled with pride. "The Luminary built this place long ago, in harmony with our world." Elias stared in wonder. "It's beautiful. How do you live here? How does it stay afloat?" Silithra paused, considering his question. "Our lives are connected to the energy of this planet. We draw power from its core, and in return, we protect it. Balance is everything. She led him through one of the bridges and into the heart of the city, where dozens of luminary gathered. They looked similar to Silithra, though each had unique features, some with hair that sparkled like diamonds, others with intricate patterns etched into their shimmering skin. As Elias entered, they turned to look at him, their expressions a mix of curiosity and caution. Silithra stepped forward, addressing her people in melodic tones that resonated in Elias's mind. "This is Elias, a human explorer. He means no harm." Then, turning to him, she added, "They wish to understand you, as I do." Over the next few days, Silithra introduced Elias to her culture. The Luminary communicated not only through telepathy, but also through music-like sounds and graceful gestures. Their society operated on principles of unity and collective consciousness, where individual desires blended seamlessly with the needs of the group. For Elias, it was both fascinating and disorienting. Human emotions, with all their chaos and unpredictability, seemed almost foreign compared to the calm efficiency of the Luminary. One evening, as they sat overlooking the glowing ocean, Silithra asked him about his earlier words. "You've said you wish to marry someone like me. What does that mean?" Elias hesitated, unsure how to explain such a complex concept. "In my world, marriage is a promise. Two people decide to share their lives, support each other, and grow old together. It's about love and commitment." Silithra tilted her head thoughtfully. "Love. Commitment. Her voice trailed off as she processed the ideas. After a moment, she said, "We do not have such customs among my kind. Our bonds are formed differently, through shared energy and understanding. But your way intrigues me." Her interest made Elias's heart race. Could she truly understand what he meant, or was there too much distance between their worlds? Before he could respond, a ripple of tension passed through the city. A group of elders approached, their expressions stern. One of them addressed Silithra directly. Asterisk. He carries danger with him. Humans are volatile, unpredictable. Why do you trust him? Asterisk. Silithra stood tall, her voice steady. Asterisk. Because he seeks connection, not conquest. Because he sees us, not as strangers, but as equals. Asterisk. The elders exchanged wary glances, but said nothing more. As they left, Silithra turned to Elias. Asterisk. Not everyone will accept you here, but I believe in what you bring. A chance for our worlds to meet. Asterisk. For the first time, Elias realized the weight of his presence. This wasn't just a meeting of two individuals, it was the beginning of something far greater. And yet, he couldn't shake the feeling that challenges lay ahead. The year was 2147, and humanity had spread its wings far beyond Earth. Space exploration was no longer a dream, but a reality, with advanced ships venturing into the unknown corners of the galaxy. Among these explorers was Captain Elias Voss, a man in his mid-30s with sharp features, piercing blue eyes, and a quiet determination that made him stand out among his peers. He wasn't just an astronaut. He was a seeker, a man driven by curiosity about what lay beyond the stars. Elias's ship, Asterisk, the Horizon Seeker Asterisk, was on a routine mission to map uncharted regions of the Andromeda expanse when something unusual caught their attention. Deep within the expanse, sensors detected a faint yet peculiar energy signature emanating from a distant planet. The readings were unlike anything they'd encountered before, neither natural nor artificial, but something in between. Intrigued, Elias decided to investigate further. As the ship descended through the planet's atmosphere, the crew marveled at the view below. The surface was covered in lush forests, glowing faintly under two suns. Rivers of shimmering liquid flowed like veins across the terrain, reflecting light in mesmerizing patterns. It was breathtakingly beautiful, almost otherworldly. But there was also an eerie stillness to it, as if the planet itself were holding its breath. Against protocol, Elias chose to explore alone. "I'll go first," he told his crew firmly. "If there's intelligent life here, I don't want us overwhelming them." Grabbing his gear, he stepped onto the alien soil. The air smelled sweet, tinged with hints of metallic undertones. Every step felt surreal, as though he were walking through a dream. For hours, Elias wandered deeper into the forest, following subtle signs of activity, strange markings on trees, faint humming sounds in the distance. His heart raced with anticipation. Then, suddenly, he stumbled upon a clearing bathed in soft, golden light. At its center stood a figure so extraordinary that Elias froze in awe. She, or at least it appeared female, was tall and slender, her skin shimmering like liquid silver under the sunlight. Her hair seemed to float around her head, strands of translucent fibers catching the light like threads of starlight. Most striking were her eyes, large, luminous orbs that glowed softly, radiating intelligence and calm. She didn't move or speak, simply observing him with an expression that was both curious and serene. Before Elias could react, a voice echoed in his mind, not spoken aloud, but directly inside his thoughts. Asterisk, you are not of this world. Asterisk. The words startled him, but not because of their content. It was the tone, gentle, melodic, and utterly alien. I'm human," Elias stammered, struggling to find his voice. "My name is Elias. I mean no harm." The being tilted her head slightly, studying him intently. Asterisk, I am Silithra. Asterisk, she replied telepathically. Asterisk, why have you come here? Asterisk. Elias hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. Finally, he said, "We're explorers. We came to learn about new worlds, and maybe meet others like you." Silithra's gaze softened, and for a moment, Elias thought he saw amusement flicker across her face. Before he knew it, words tumbled out of his mouth before he could stop them. "I wish I could marry someone like you." The statement hung awkwardly in the air, or rather, in his mind. Silithra blinked slowly, clearly puzzled. Asterisk, Mary. Asterisk, she echoed, her mental voice tinged with confusion. Elias felt his cheeks flush. It's a human thing. It means wanting to spend your life with someone special. Silithra regarded him silently for a long moment, then smiled, a gesture so radiant it took his breath away. Asterisk. Your kind carries strange customs, asterisk, she said. Asterisk. But perhaps there is wisdom in them. Asterisk. Little did Elias know, those impulsive words would set off a chain of events neither of them could have anticipated. For now, though, all he could do was stare at her, overwhelmed by the beauty and mystery of this alien woman who seemed to shine brighter than the stars themselves. Back on Earth, Elias became a legend. News of his encounter with the luminary spread quickly, inspiring awe and curiosity among humanity. His success in repelling the Krylos without bloodshed earned him accolades from Earth Command, though few understood the personal cost behind his achievements. To most, he was Captain Elias Voss, a hero who had bridged worlds and secured peace. But to Elias himself, life felt emptier than ever. The pendant Silithra had given him hung around his neck at all times, a constant reminder of the bond they shared. Through it, he occasionally felt faint echoes of her thoughts, gentle reassurances, or fragments of emotion that reminded him she was still out there, thinking of him too. Yet the distance between them weighed heavily on his heart. The pendant's connection was limited. Sustained communication required immense focus and energy, leaving both of them exhausted after each attempt. It wasn't enough. Not for Elias, who longed to see her again, nor for Silithra, who struggled to balance her role as a leader among her people with her growing attachment to a human. Months turned into years, and tensions with the Krylos escalated across the galaxy. Despite their retreat from the luminary planet, the aggressive faction continued to expand its influence, targeting weaker civilizations and plundering resources. Humanity found itself caught in an uneasy alliance with several alien species, united only by their shared fear of the Krylos threat. Elias was thrust into diplomacy once more, traveling between planets to negotiate fragile truces and forge alliances. During one such mission, Elias received a message encoded in a frequency only the luminary used. At first, he thought it might be interference, but then he recognized the pattern. It was unmistakably Silithra's voice, faint yet clear in his mind. Asterisk, come home, asterisk, it said simply. The message ignited a fire within him. Home. Could the floating city truly feel like home to him now? He knew he couldn't abandon his duties, but the pull of Silithra's call was irresistible. After completing his current assignment, Elias requested leave from Earth Command, citing personal reasons. Though reluctant, his superiors granted it, unaware of the true nature of his departure. Using an experimental ship capable of faster-than-light travel, Elias set course for the luminary planet. As he approached, his breath caught in his throat. The once isolated enclave had transformed. Human settlers now lived alongside the luminary, working together to build structures that blended advanced technology with natural harmony. Fields of glowing crops stretched across the landscape, tended by humans and luminary side by side. Children laughed near the bioluminescent ocean, their laughter carrying notes of both human joy and luminary melody. Silithra awaited him at the edge of the water, her shimmering form unchanged despite the passage of time. She held the same crystalline orb she had offered him years ago, its glow steady and warm. Smiling, she stepped forward as Elias disembarked from his ship. You came, she said aloud this time, her voice soft but audible. I wasn't sure you would. Elias shook his head, tears welling in his eyes. How could I not? You gave me something worth coming back for. Silithra extended her hand, placing the orb gently into his palm. Asterisk. This is no longer just my essence. It's ours, a symbol of what we've built together. Asterisk. Behind her, the mixed crowd of humans and luminary watched silently, their expressions hopeful. Elias realized that his return wasn't just about reuniting with Silithra. It was about solidifying the bridge he had started building years ago. Together, they had created something extraordinary, a future where two vastly different species could coexist and thrive. Yet, challenges remained. The Krylos were still out there, watching, waiting, and Elias knew that their fight was far from over. But for now, standing beside Silithra under twin moons, he allowed himself a rare moment of peace. They had chosen each other, despite the odds, and that choice had changed everything. The days that followed Elias's return to the luminary planet were a whirlwind of activity. The floating city buzzed with excitement as humans and luminary worked together to strengthen their shared community. For the first time in history, two vastly different species had built something not just out of necessity, but out of mutual respect and understanding. Yet, beneath the surface of progress lay an undercurrent of tension. Rumors of Krylos movements in nearby star systems kept everyone on edge. Elias and Silithra spent every moment they could together, catching up on lost time. Through the pendant she had given him, their bond grew stronger, allowing them to share thoughts and emotions even when apart. They walked through the glowing fields, discussing plans for the future. "We've come so far," Elias said one evening, watching the waves of the bioluminescent ocean shimmer under the twin moons. "But I can't shake the feeling that this peace is fragile." Silithra nodded, her luminous eyes reflecting the water's glow. It is. Peace always requires vigilance, but we are stronger together than we ever were apart. Their unity inspired others. Humans learned from the luminary's harmony with nature, while the luminary embraced human ingenuity and adaptability. Together, they developed technologies that harnessed the planet's energy more efficiently, ensuring sustainability for generations to come. Children born into this new world grew up without prejudice, seeing no divide between species. To them, coexistence was simply the way things were meant to be. But the shadow of the Krylos loomed large. One fateful morning, alarms blared across the city. A fleet of Krylos ships appeared on the horizon, larger than before. Commander Zixer's voice crackled over a communication channel. "Your defiance has gone on long enough. Surrender now or face annihilation." Panic spread among the settlers, but Elias stood firm. "We won't back down," he declared, addressing both humans and luminary. "This isn't just our home. It's proof that cooperation is possible. If we fall, so does hope for the rest of the galaxy." Silithra stepped beside him, her presence calming yet resolute. Let us show them what true strength looks like, not through weapons, but through unity. Together, they devised a plan. Using the combined knowledge of both species, they activated a massive energy shield around the city, powered by the same psychic network the Krylos coveted. But instead of using it as a weapon, they amplified its harmonizing effects, broadcasting waves of peaceful resonance toward the enemy ships. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, cracks began to form in the Krylos armor. Not physical ones, but ideological. Soldiers aboard the ships hesitated, confused by the sudden influx of calming energies disrupting their aggressive instincts. Commander Zixer roared in frustration, trying to maintain control, but his voice faltered as the broadcast reached him too. Finally, one ship broke formation and turned away. Then another. Slowly, the entire fleet retreated, leaving behind only silence. When the dust settled, Elias turned to Silithra, his heart pounding. "Did we win?" She smiled, her glow brighter than ever. Not just us. All of us. In the weeks that followed, word of their victory spread across the galaxy. Other civilizations took notice, inspired by the alliance between humans and luminary. Even former enemies began reaching out, seeking to learn how such harmony was achieved. As for Elias and Silithra, their bond deepened further. One evening, surrounded by friends from both worlds, Silithra held up the crystalline orb once more. "You once wished to marry someone like me," she said, her melodic voice carrying pride and affection. Asterisk. Though our customs differ, your wish has been fulfilled. We are bound, not by tradition, but by choice. Asterisk. Tears welled in Elias's eyes as he realized the truth of her words. Their love transcended boundaries, defying logic and convention. And in doing so, it had sparked a revolution, a beacon of hope for all who dared to dream of a better future. Under the twin moons, hand in hand, Elias and Silithra looked toward the horizon, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, together.